Hello trainers, Kaneto here, and today we are diving together into Hoenn Cup with my best teams around Sableye. So Sableye is the safest pick of them all. You're gonna see that a lot of people are gonna use it in the meta and it makes a lot of sense. It is the safest pick, it has a ton of good and general matchups, pretty much of a safe lead and a safe switch overall. We're gonna see it as a closer in this video as well, so stay tuned till the end if you do not want to miss any of those 5 teams in total. So starting off, we have here the double water with Walrein and Swampert at the back. You already know that those 3 Pokemons are pretty amazing on the Open Great League meta, and here it makes no wonder as to why we're seeing it as well. You're gonna see that Sableye Front is gonna cover a lot of meta general mons, something like a Medi, something like a Registeel, something like an Altaria. All those can be covered with your Sableye, and even on close losses, the backline can still go in and start farming down some crucial energy with the Powder Snows, with the Matshots, and then be able to nuke down the next Pokemon. I really like Swampert on the regular form, no Shadow at all, because it will give you more bulk, to be honest, and the Earthquake is still gonna hit like a truck whatever you are gonna hit with. So yeah, we're looking at a pretty strong team, Walrein with those Icicle Spears and Earthquake for coverage. Core breaker of this line, none other than Linoone, able to destroy down the Sableye with its normal typing. At the back it has the move Grass Knot, which can just one-shot down the backline, which is crazy, but still Linoone is super glassy. It needs definitely some shields in order to be useful, so I would not be that much worried about this Pokemon. Overall, this team is a very nice start for the video for the Hoenn Cup best teams around Sableye. Into the next one, and we're having the Sableye now at the back. So as a closer, we're gonna have a second ghost type Pokemon on the face of Dusclops. Hear me out on this one. In a while I will explain everything. This Pokemon is pretty amazing as a closer, perhaps the best one that exists right now in the Hoenn Cup meta, and the most underrated one. Definitely gonna make a separate video about Dusclops for sure. So up in front we have the Regirock, and for Regirock I really recommend using the Stone Edge with the Lock-ons. No rock throws at all. You need Lock-on for sure to get there much faster on your charge attacks, which is the main asset of this Pokemon. Stone Edge for your main charge attack, and as a second one, well, I recommend using Earthquake over Focus Blast. Earthquake will be a much more viable move for you, and you are still gonna need 2 Focus Blasts to finish off anything, so why not go for 2 Earthquakes, which is just gonna get you there much faster, especially against the Registeel matchup. So this line is pretty nice. I like it a lot with a lot of switching around, because you want to pressure the enemy to revealing their next Pokemon with your Sableye, aggressively switching in to their team. You want that Medicham as soon as possible out of the way, and the backline can help a lot with that matter. Even against the worst case scenario, against a Medicham upon the lead, you can still switch out and you still have another ghost type at the back that can threat the enemy. Speaking of a second ghost type, well, yeah, that one is gonna be the Dusclops, as we have already said and you are already seeing on your screens. And with Poltergeist, this Pokemon is absolutely unstoppable. I had a lot of nukes, crazy nukes against the Walreins, against Swamperts, against Altarias, whatever. This Pokemon doesn't care at all. Even when the move is not super effective, still it can one-shot pretty much anything in the meta, especially on its shadow form. Poltergeist is a move that you should not underestimate at all, and if your opponent doesn't seal well, it's a much better option for you. Even against those normal types, you still have the move Hex and Ice Punch, which can just go back to back on the enemy and destroy them down. Crawdont is gonna be the main core breaker of this team, mainly because of its Crab Hammer, because it can do a lot of work and outspeed that Registeel, and against that Registeel. And of course at the back, well, the Dark typing is gonna help a lot to the Crawdont, resisting the Ice Punch as well. Only return can do severe damage to this Pokemon, but it's super glassy, so I think that even a Foul Play or a Poltergeist can still one-shot down sometimes, so I would not be that much worried about Crawdont. And now let's move forward into team number 3. Now we have a team for those that struggle with their resources. Are you running low on Stardust? Well, this team might be just for you. Okay, Sableye obviously is the most expensive choice here. I know a lot of excels to power up, but to be honest, mine is very close to a Hundo 15, 12, 15 on its IVs, which means that it does need a lot of those excels in order to power it up. This is not even a top ranked Sableye, and I have the same amount of fun. So you can always use a Sableye like this, and at the back we have the Vigoroth, which can always be used with a single move. Just the Body Slam, no Bulldoze, and you can still go to town with this Pokemon as your safe switch. Pretty spammy, pretty pressuring, especially with those counters dealing a lot of damage on the enemy, and that Body Slam can absolutely get back to back. Of course, Bulldoze is gonna help you against certain situations, something like a Registeel, for example. Yeah, I finally said it, but still you're gonna see that even the Body Slams back to back deal about the same amount of damage, even resisted. As a closer, I have here the Whiskas. Mainly because Whiskas is gonna require 10,000 Stardust to unlock its second move. It has no legacy moves on it. It is pretty spammy with the Mud Bombs and the Mud Shots, and of course Blizzard can be used for coverage against certain threats, something like an Altaria that this team might struggle otherwise. If you happen to have something like a Swampert on this line, well, it makes sense that it might be a little bit of a struggling to battle an Altaria overall. As a core breaker, I have decided to add here the Pelipper, mainly because of its typing, able to go pretty good against the Sableye, and has a very good matchup against the backline. Other than that, everything is fine, and now let's move forward into the next one. At the start of this video, we saw that Linoone is an amazing core breaker, so here it is in our team as a safe switch this time. I prefer it as a safe switch here and not as a closer, because I want to keep the return version of Sableye as my closing part for this team. It makes a lot of sense. Sableye as a closer makes a lot of damage on the enemy and a lot of pressure, so we're just gonna keep that in mind when playing a team like this. Able to get in there for the Linoone, getting to those digs for the Registeels, to those Grass Knots for the Mud Boys, and you're gonna be on a very good spot even against your worst counters, able to get a shield even against a Medicham. Up in front we got the Deoxys. This Pokemon is super good, and it will take the spot of the kinda electric Pokemon because of Thunderbolt, so that you do not have to run Thunder on your Linoone at all. So Deoxys here is gonna apply a lot of pressure with the counters, 5 of those to get to your Psycho Boost, and 7 of those to get to the Rock Slide, or even 8 to the Thunderbolt. Is that 7 for the Rock Slide? I think so. So this team is gonna apply a lot of pressure on the enemy with the fast attacks, while the charge attacks are gonna be devastating most of the times, and they have to start spending shields so that your Sableye can have a clearer and empty field for the closing part of your battle. As a core breaker, I have decided to add the Altaria. So if you happen to see a lot of Altarias, perhaps you want to run something like a Rock Slide over Thunderbolt on your Deoxys, just keep in mind that Psycho Boost, you're still gonna need this one. It's an amazing move, so do not risk of not having it on any of your battles. And on your safe switch on the Linoone, just be sure that you want to run the Thunder if you decide to remove the Thunderbolt out of your Deoxys, because otherwise you will have no answer at all against Altaria, and your main way to go up against it will be that poor Sableye, which is not that bad, but still it's kinda bad. So overall, this team might struggle a little bit against Altaria, but against the rest of the Hoenn Cup meta, you're gonna be just fine. Into the final one, trainers, with the Registeel up on the lead, at the back the Pelipper and the Sableye. This team is extremely safe to use, and I know what you're thinking. This team has already been featured by myself, and that was on my last video about the best teams in Hoenn Cup in general. So we're looking at a line that has no weakness at all. I really mean this. Even against a Medicham up on the lead or a Mud Boy, you still have your backline. You can rotate around it, while Focus Blast and Zap Cannon can always nuke down that Pokemon that is severely countering you down towards the end of the battle. The backline can protect from the Medicham, that poor Registeel, and of course the Registeel can protect the backline from severe threats, something like a Gardevoir or a Delcatty, for example. Why not? Delcatty might be around. Overall, this Pokemon is the best counter for Sableye, so why not? Some people might want to have fun with a Charmer that is not fairy type, and of course can still pressure with its normal typing against that Sableye. So it makes a lot of sense, and Registeel with a Pelipper can help against that matter for sure. Pelipper is an amazing closer, basically because it is another safe pick that isn't afraid basically of anything, because with Shields up it can bring to no HP anything on the meta, taking advantage advantage of the absence of those electric types, Pelipper is gonna rise to be one of the best closers on the Hoenn Cup meta. So that's all about this team. I have nothing else to say. This line is pretty strong. I recommend to you a lot, especially if you want to climb that ladder of Go Battle League and you want to get some easy elo against your enemies. So as always, that's a wrap, everyone. Thank you for watching, trainers. Just be sure to leave a huge like before you go, subscribe to the channel if you already haven't, and if you want to support even more, well, joining as a member can always help with that matter. Thank you once again, and I hope to see you all into the next one. Take care, trainers.